Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Shahbano Salman Adil, and I welcome you all to Dr. Shah's page. Today, I'm extremely humbled that my mentor, Dr. Shagufta Feroz, who guided me towards the light of holistic medicine, has allowed me to create an audio-visual version of her amazing book, Living as Nature Intended. I hope and pray that, inshallah, I'll be able to
Chapter
do
1,
justice to it.
Holistic
So,
Content
ladies and
Sciences.
gentlemen, let's read Dr.
Today's
Shagufta's book
humanity
together.
intuitively feels a deprivation, a feeling of emptiness and frustration. We all live in mega centers filled with population, vice, crime, and decay. The purpose of life, as we know now, is but a mere rat race of purposelessness, materialism, greed, and destruction. The secularized, urbanized modern humanity is reaching its height of madness in leading all beings, humans, animals, and vegetation, toward total and final annihilation. We're killing all species of vegetation and animal life with the tools of power, technology, and modern science. We are digging our own graves by the toxic and hazardous poisons being discharged into the earth and its atmosphere. We're creating a bigger ozone hole in the sky each day. The crisis of modern man begins with the acceptance of a totally wrong scientific philosophy. The basic premises of this philosophy is that man is here on this earth to dominate and exploit nature to the fullest. Modern man has secularized the natural religious philosophy by divorcing God. By redefining that man is God, modern man bluntly proclaims victory over nature. That nature is to be conquered, subdued, and used to the fullest, regardless of the consequences. This has become the hallmark of success for today's civilization. The great superpowers and industrialized nations are responsible for more than 85% of the total pollution and toxic waste discharged on this planet Earth. Imagine 15 major industrialized countries account for nearly 85% of the total world pollution. If this trend is followed by all 156 countries, members of the United Nations, the planet Earth will be uninhabitable within 10 years. So, intellectuals have to take emergency measures to reverse this speedy destructive process. The rediscovery of holistic science is one of the revolutionary steps. Holistic sciences. The term holistic means totally, in all inclusive, all comprehensive, integrative, systematic, balanced, and takes into account all factors. Should we follow this definition, then holistic science would mean an all encompassing science of nature and life, inclusive of ecology, biology, physics, chemistry, and other sciences. It would also include technology and methods of how to use it in harmony with nature and its inhabitants. The current definition of holistic science merely pertains to the science of healing and nutrition. This is a very narrow definition because healing or good health and good nutrition cannot exist on its own without being nurtured in all natural and balanced environment. It also cannot exist in an immoral and vice-ridden civilization. It is of paramount importance that all holistic practitioners work together to redefine holistic science. We should not talk of ecology per se, rather, it should be holistic ecology that covers the full spectrum of nature, man, spirit, and the universe in its entireness. Philosophy. Holistic science is an approach to research, the emphasis, the study of complex systems. The practice is in contrast to purely analytical traditions called reductionism, which purports to understand systems by dividing them into their smallest possible or discernible elements and understanding their elemental properties alone. Holistic science is an approach to research, the emphasis, the study of complex systems. Two central aspects are the way of doing science, sometimes called whole to part, which focuses on observation of the specimen within its ecosystem, first before breaking down to study any part of the specimen. The idea that the scientist is not a passive observer of the external universe, that there is no objective truth, but the individual is in a reciprocal, participatory relationship with nature and the observer's contribution to the process is valuable. The term holistic science has been used as a category encompassing a number of scientific research fields. The term may not have a precise definition. Fields of scientific research considered potentially holistic do, however, certain things have in common. First, they are multidisciplinary. Second, they are concerned with the behavior of the complex system. Third, they recognize feedback within systems as a crucial element for understanding their behavior. The Santa Fe Institute, a center of holistic science research in the United States, expresses it like this. The two dominant characteristics of the SFI research style are commitment to a multidisciplinary approach and an emphasis on the study of problem that involves complex interactions among their constituent parts. Categories. The field of cognitive science or the study of mind and intelligence has some examples of holistic approach. These include unified theory of cognition and many others, many of which rely on the concept of emergency, that is, the interplay of many entities, make up a functioning whole. Another example is psychological nativism, the study of the innate structure of the mind. Non holistic, functionalistic approaches with the cognitive science include example, the modularity of mind paradigm. Cognitive science need not concern only human cognition. Biologist Mark Bikoff has done holistic, interdisciplinary scientific research in animal cognition and is the patron of the Captive Animal Protection Society. Quantum mechanics is another holistic science. In the standard Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, there is holism of the measurement situation in which there is holism of apparatus and object. There is an uncontrollable disturbance of the measured object by the act of measurement according to Niels Bohr. It is impossible to separate the effect of measuring apparatus from the object measured. The observer's measurement relation is an active area of research today, like the phenomena of quantum DE coherence, quantum zero effect, and measurement problems. Holistic science sometimes asks different questions than a strictly analytical science, as is exemplified by Goethe in the following passage. We conceive of the individual animal as a small world existing for its own sake, by its own means. Every creature is its own reason to be. All its parts have a direct effect on one another, a relationship to one another, thereby constantly renewing the circle of life. Thus, we are justified in considering every animal physiological perfect. Viewed from within, no part of the animal is useless or arbitrary, product of the formative impulse, as so often thought. Externally, some part may seem useless because the inner coherence of the animal nature has given them this form without regard to the outer circumstances. A lively debate has run since the end of the 19th century regarding the functional organization of the brain. The holistic tradition, Pierre Marie, maintained that the brain was a homogeneous organ. No specific subparts, where the localizationists, example Paul Broca, argued that brain was originally in functionally distinct cortical areas which was each specialized to produce a given type of information or implement specific mental operations. The controversy was epitomized with the existence of a language area in the brain, nowadays known as the Broca's area. Although Broca's view has gained acceptance, the issue isn't settled insofar as the brain as a whole is a highly connected organ at every level from the individual neuron to the hemisphere stands. Modern holistic sciences. Holism as a health concept has long existed out of the academic circles, but only relatively recently has the modern medical establishment begun to integrate it into the mainstream healthcare system. In the United States, the first national conference on holistic health was conducted by the Health Optimizing Institute and the Mandela Society with the University of California, San Diego School of Medicine in June 1975. This continued there for 10 years with about 3,000 health professionals participating each year. The recording of these conferences was the emerging of holistic health in America is in the ninth volume of the Journal of Holistic Health provided by the Mandela Society. Over 150 authorities in aspects of holistic health participated and are recorded in the journals. The Mandela Society Conference and the work supported the creation of the Association for Holistic Health in 1976. The Holistic Medical Association 1978 and the American Holistic Nurse Association 1979. Many regional holistic health associations followed, with the American Holistic Health Association being established in 1989. Holistic health. The philosophy of holistic health is not itself a method of treatment, but is an approach to how treatment should be applied. Holistic concepts of health and fitness views achieving and maintaining good health as requiring more than just taking care of the various singular components that make up the physical body, additionally incorporating aspects such as emotional and spiritual well-being. The goal is a wellness that encompasses the entire person rather than just the lack of physical pain or disease. This means that not feeling sick does not necessarily mean you are well, just as you are between well and sick. When symptoms develop, it is often long after the cause of the symptom occurred. It is often used in contrast to the medical model that focuses on treating symptoms and syndromes without attempting to address functioning beyond the aspect of absence of disease. The holistic approach focuses on the cause. The holistic process offers individuals the opportunity to be the creators of their own reality of health through an understanding of all levels of health and a balanced lifestyle. Biopsychosocial model, abbreviated as BPS, is a general model of approach that posits that the biological, psychological, which entails thoughts, emotions, and behavior and social factors, all play a significant role in human functioning in the context of disease or illness. Indeed, health is best understood in terms of a combination of biological, physiological, and social factors rather than purely in biological terms. This, in contrast to the traditional reductionist biomedical model of medicine that suggests that every disease process can be explained in terms of underlying deviation from normal function, such as a pathology, genetics, or developmental abnormality or injury. The biopsychosocial paradigm is also a technical term for the popular concept of mind body connection, which addresses more philosophical arguments between the biopsychosocial and biomedical models, rather than the empirical exploration and clinical application. The model was theorized by the psychiatrist George L. Engel at the University of Rochester and putatively discussed in 1977 articles in Science, where he says that the need for a new medical model, however, no single definitive irreducible model has been published. However, the general BPS model has guided, formulated, and testing of models with each professional field. Interestingly, evidence for the application of the biopsychosocial model was found in ancient Asian 2600 BC and Greek 500 BC civilization prior to Engel's introduction of the theory in 1979. The novelty, acceptance, and prevalence of the biopsychosocial model vary across cultures. The biological component of the biopsychosocial model seeks to understand how the cause of illness stems from the functioning of the individual's body. The psychological component of the biopsychosocial model looks for potential psychological cause for a health problem, such as lack of self control, emotional turmoil, and negative thinking. The social part of the biopsychosocial model investigates how different social factors, such as socioeconomical status, culture, poverty, technology, and religion, can influence health. The biopsychosocial model of health is based in part of social cognitive theory. The biopsychosocial model implies that treatment of disease process, for example, type 2 diabetes and cancer, requires that healthcare system addresses biological, psychological, and social influences upon a patient's functioning. In a philosophical sense, the biopsychosocial model states that the working of the body can affect the mind, and the working of the mind can affect the body. This means both a direct interaction between mind and body,
as well as indirect effects through intermediate factors. The biopsychosocial model presumes that it is important to handle the three together, as growing body of empirical literature suggests that patients' perception of health and threat of disease, as well as barriers in a patient's social and cultural environment, appear to influence the likelihood that the patient will engage in health promoting or treatment behaviors such as medication, taking proper diet, and engaging in physical activity. Psychoneuroimmunology PNI is the study of the interaction between psychological process and the nervous and the immune system of the human body. PNI takes an interdisciplinary approach incorporating psychology, neuroscience, immunology, physiology, pharmacology, molecular biology, psychiatry, behavioral medicine, infectious disease, endocrinology, and rheumatology. PNI studies, amongst other things, that physiological functioning of the neuroimmune system in health and disease, disorder of the neuroimmune system, autoimmune disease, hypersensitive immune deficiency, and the physical, chemical, and psychological characteristics of the components of the neuroimmune system in vitro, in situ, and in vivo. 3. Alternative medical systems. In Western cultures, alternative medicine is any healing practice that does not fall within the realm of conventional medicine, or that which is not shown consistently to be effective. In practice, alternative medicine encompasses theories with a historical or cultural rather than a scientific basis. Commonly cited examples include naturopathy, chiropractic, herbalism, traditional Chinese medicine, Unani, Ayurveda, medication, yoga, biofeedback, hypnosis, homeopathy, acupuncture, and diet based therapies. In addition to a range of other practices, it is frequently grouped with complementary medicine, which generally refers to the same interventions when used in conjunction with mainstream techniques. Under the umbrella term complementary and alternative medicine, or CAM, some significant researchers in alternative medicine oppose the grouping, preferring to emphasize differences of the approach, but nevertheless using the term CAM, which has become standard. A 1998 systemic review of studies assessing its prevalence in 13 countries concluded that about 31% of cancer patients use some form of complementary medicine and alternative medicine. Alternative medicine varies from country to country. Dr. Edzard Ernest believes that in Austria and Germany, CAM is mainly in the hands of physicians, while some estimates suggest that at least half of American alternative practitioners are physicians. In Germany, herbs are tightly regulated, with half prescribed by doctors and covered by health insurance. The National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine (NCCAM) defines CAM as a group of diverse medical and healthcare system practices and products that are not currently part of conventional medicine. The Cochrane Complementary Medicine field says what are considered complementary or alternative practice in one country may be considered conventional medicine practices in another. Therefore, our definition is broad and general. Complementary medicine includes all practices and ideas which are outside the domain of conventional medicine in several countries and defined by its users as preventing or treating illnesses or promoting health and well being. These practices complement mainstream medicine by 1. Contributing to common whole, 2. Satisfying a demand not met by conventional practices, and 3. Diversifying the conceptual framework of medicine. Integrated medicine. Integrative medicine or integrated medicine is a form of medicine that combines conventional medicine treatment with complementary and alternative medicine CAM. Treatments to provide the best of both worlds to patient. The primary effect of the revitalizing effect of integrative medicine is the emphasis on the patient-physician relationship, which recognized by the conventional care provides on the importance of lifestyle, exercise, and emotional well-being for overall health. Patients are encouraged to take an active role in the healthcare as well as doctors taking responsibility as role models for their patients. The integrative medicine focuses on healing is dramatically affected our system of healthcare today. Ralph and Andrew say that integrative medicine is not synonym with complementary or alternative medicine. It has a far larger meaning and mission that they call for restoration and the focus of medicine and health and healing and emphasize the centrality of patient physician relationship. The combination of orthodox and complementary medicine with an emphasis on prevention and lifestyle change is known as integrated medicine. The Washington Post reports that a growing number of traditionally trained physicians practice integrative medicine, which is defined as conventional medicine care that incorporates strategies such as acupuncture, Reiki, and herbal remedies. Fifth, lifestyle medicine. Lifestyle medicine is based on the recognition of the central role of lifestyle in many chronic diseases. The use of lifestyle change intervention within conventional medicine to lower the risk of conventional chronic disease, or if disease is already present, to serve as an adjunct to the management plan. It includes exercise, eating habits, stress management, tobacco, and alcohol use. Current definition by Egger 2008 says that the therapeutic use of lifestyle intervention in the management of disease at all levels to help manage the growing number of cases presenting to doctors now with a lifestyle based cause of disease such as obesity and type 2 diabetes. The application of environmental, behavioral, medical, and motivational principles to the management of lifestyle related health problems is a clinical setting. CAM and evidence based medicine. Some scientists reject the use of classification of any therapy as alternative medicine on the ground that there is only medicine that has been adequately tested and medicine that has not, medicine that works and medicine that may not. These scientists advocate a classification based on scientific evidence and state that what most sets alternative medicines apart in our view is that it has not been scientifically tested, and it advocates largely deny that for such testing the US Institute of Medicine analyzed this approach to defining alternative medicine, which is called normative, or found it problematic because some CAM is tested and much of the mainstream medicine lacks strong evidence. The IOM found that in a study of 116 Cochrane systemic or mainstream techniques, 20% were ineffective, 21 had inefficient evidence. The IOM therefore defined alternative medicine broadly as a non dominant approach in a given culture and historical period. A similar definition has been adopted by Cochrane Collaboration, which is the leading body of evidence based medicine, and official government bodies such as the UK Department of Health. This definition does not take into account of the off-label use of drugs which has not been scientifically tested. Off-label uses of medication is very common. Up to one-fifth of all drugs are prescribed off-label, and among psychiatric drugs, off-label use rises to 31%. Conventional medicine is not evidence-based. Well-known proponents of evidence-based medicine, such as the Cochrane Collaboration and Edzard Ernest, professor of complementary medicine at the University of Exeter, use the term alternative medicine but agrees that all treatment, whether mainstream or alternative, ought to be held standard of the scientific methods. Their view is that evidence based medicine is an ideal state which has not yet been achieved by either current mainstream or alternative medicine. Ernest characterized the evidence for many alternative techniques as weak, non existent, or negative, but states that the compelling evidence exists for others, particularly certain herbs and acupuncture. Although this evidence does not mean that the treatments are mainstream, especially not worldwide. What is alternative varies by discipline as well as by country. For example, biofeedback is commonly used within the physical, medical, and rehabilitation community, but is considered alternative within the medical community as a whole. And some herb therapies are mainstream in Europe but are alternative in United States. Evidence-based criteria has to be modified. M.R. Tonelli argues the CAM cannot be evidence-based until the definition of evidence is changed. He states that the method of developing knowledge within the CAM currently have limitation and are subject to bias and varied interpretation. CAM must develop and define a rational and coherent method for assessing causalities and efficacy, though not necessarily one based on the results of the controlled clinical trial. Further, a review of Michael L. Melison's book demanding medical excellence, doctors, and accountability in the information. Age described it is as a wake-up call for both medical and nursing due to what Milson calls is a lack of scientific-based medical practice. According to the review, the book states that 85% of the current practices has not been scientifically validated, and that it is suggested that the user of the research presented by the Medline should question research articles rather than assuming they are accurate simply because of where they are published. The review states that the Melanson's thesis and conclusion calls for a health research and policymakers to do a better job assuring valid methodology and avoidance of bias in published research. Michael Dixon, the director of NHS Alliance, states that the people argue against complementary therapies on the basis of lack of evidence. But I'd say only 10% of what doctors do in primary care is evidence based. Engel and Kasserer acknowledge that many treatments used in conventional medicine have not been rigorously tested either, but say that the scientific community is generally aware that this is failing that needs to be remedied. To remove clinical experience from medical care and replace it purely with objective data is at the heart of evidence based medicine. Because of the effect of the evidence based movement, the drug industry incorporates bibliographical reference to clinical trials that endorse their products in their ads and use the pretext of objective data. Drug companies are manipulating facts of their own purpose. CAMP classification by NCCM. NCCAM classifies complementary and alternative theories into five major groups. The classification is rather loose and there can be some overlap. One whole medical system cut across more than one of the other groups. Examples include traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. Mind body 2 Mind body medicine takes a holistic approach to health that explores the interconnection between the mind, body, and spirit. It works under the premises that the mind can affect bodily function and symptoms. 3. Biological based practices use substances found in nature such as herbs, food, vitamins, and other natural substances. 4. Manipulative and body based practices feature manipulation or movement of body parts such as done in chiropractic and osteopathic manipulation. 5. Energy medicine is a domain that deals with putative and verified energy fields. Quantum sciences. Quantum theory. Quantum science seeks to investigate the science in terms of quantum theory. This includes attempts to study biological processes and dynamic molecular structures in terms of quantum mechanics. For example, investigations of dynamic molecular structures and energy transfers at the quantum level have credibility if they explain macroscopic biological observables that otherwise are inexplicable. Fundamental biological processes that involve the conversion of energy into forms that are usable for chemical transformation are quantum mechanics in nature. These processes involve chemical reaction, light absorption, formation of exciting electronic states, transfer of excitation of energy, and transfer of electrons and protons in chemical processes such as photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Quantum biology. Quantum biology uses mathematical computation to model biological interaction in light of QM effect. The need for quantum theoretical study of genetic systems has been pointed out by Irwin in 1946 and followed up with detailed formal approach to quantum genetics by Robert Rosen in 1961. Slowly, our culture is waking up from modern life's dream of individuality and dominion into a world whose survival may depend on shared visions of connectedness and interdependence. It is extremely important for medicine to accept that the body is imbued with mind. A society to realize a primitive culture do that because mind body co-evolve with nature that are intimately interconnected. If these ideas take deep root, then techno-industrial medicine may learn to respect human adaptability and connectedness and chart a more sustainable course. Role of mind. The possibility of conscious playing a role in the working of the universe is something early quantum physics considered. The finding lead to remark that the universe is far different place than the legacy of Descartes, Bacon and Newton. The physicist Arthur Eddington said that the stuff of the world is mind stuff, and the mind stuff is not separate in time and space. The human mind is considered to be a small part of a much greater mind. According to his view, the mind is a quantum system capable of spreading out infinitely across the universe and interacting in a participatory way with the universe. Belief of the Great Chain. The belief of a great chain of being well predicted on seeing reality as having a vision for the purpose driven by consciousness or spirit, and that the drive was one continuous interrelated manifestation of the spirit. The great chain reaches out a perfectly unbroken or uninterpreted fashion from matter to life to mind to soul to spirit. The quantum view states that the life emanates as infinite possibility waves of great void. The quantum vacuum and its pervasive thoughts of the universe, it is postulated that the everyday world, a silent pulse, connects ordinary reality with the quantum reality, and through quantum creativity or the shifting of the mind, the two worlds can be connected. In order to achieve the status of higher being, humans have to learn the quantum connections. Vibration science. We live in a matrix of oscillating fields. The tiniest fluctuation in one interlocked field carry over perturbation in another. Many times per second, pulse travels completely around the world between our planet's surface and the ionosphere, sending coordinating signals to all organisms. Since life began, the earth has become surrounding and protecting all living things with a natural frequency, pulsation known as the Suchman's resonance. Ludwig discovered that while the earth vibration could be clearly measured in nature and on the ocean, it was almost impossible to measure the earth's pulse in the city, where man made signals drown out the natural signals the nature has created. When you're out in nature, your body tunes into the earth's frequency and can repair, rejuvenate, and heal itself more efficiently. Sunlight and live foods. Dr. Johanna Budwig from Germany has stated that the live foods are electron rich and act as high powered electron donors and solar resonance field in your body. Therefore, natural food attracts, store, and conduct the sun's energy in your body. The greater your store of light energy, the greater the power of your overall electromagnetic field, and consequently, the more energy is available for the optimum health. Human body emits light. The human body literally glows, emitting a visible light in extremely small quantities, at levels that rise and fall within the day. Past research has shown that the body emits visible light 1000 times less intense than the level which can be seen with the naked eye. In fact, virtually all living creatures emit a weak light. To learn more about this faint visible light, scientists in Japan employed extraordinarily sensitive cameras capable of detecting single photons. Five healthy male volunteers in these 20s were placed bare chested in front of the cameras in complete darkness in light tight rooms for 20 minutes every 3 hours. The researchers found that the body glows rose and fell over the day, with its lowest point at 10 am and peak at 4 pm, dropping gradually after that. These findings suggest that there is light emission linked to the body clock, most likely due to how metabolic rhythms fluctuate over the course of the day. If you can see the glimmer from the body's surface, you could see the whole body condition. Said researchers Hitoshi Okamura, a circadian biologist at Kyoto University in Japan. Others have explained the existence of light and energy around your body in terms of biophoton field. Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt discusses this field in the five levels of healing, which is based on the healing model developed some 1200 years ago. The energetic models for health has influenced Tibetan medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and Ayurveda medicine as well. The existence of the biophoton field was scientifically proven by Dr. Fritz Albert Pop in 1974. Your physical health is dependent not only what goes on the inside of the body, but also interconnected with and dependent on the other non-physical levels of energy, such as the energy surrounding your body, called the biophoton field. In high, simplistic terms, the biophoton field can be viewed as a highly sophisticated computer that processes, stores, and retrieves information that is then used to regulate your biological process. It is known in biology that every cell in your body has over 100,000 biochemical reactions per second, all of which must be carefully timed and sequenced with each other. Many, mostly European scientists, have investigated the organizing principle behind the sophisticated dance. Dr. Pop also proved that the biophotons originate from your DNA and that they are laser-like in nature. He developed the biophoton theory to explain the biological role and the way in which they help you control the biochemical process. The DNA inside each cell of your body vibrates at a frequency of several billion hertz, which is unfortunately the same range at which modern cell phone communicate systems also work. The vibration is created through the coil-like contractions and extensions of the DNA, which occurs several billion times per second. And every time it contracts, it squeezes out single biophoton, a light particle. The photon contains all information on everything going on in your DNA at that moment. One, sing- One single biophoton can carry more than 4 megabytes of information and relays this information to other biophotons it crosses in the biophoton field outside your body. All the photons are emitted from your body communicates with each other in highly structured light field that surrounds your body. The light field also regulates the activity of your metabolic enzyme. The information transfer on the biophotons is bidirectional, which means your DNA sends information out on a photon, and on the same photon, the information of all the biophotons from your body is broadcasted back to your cells and to your tubulins, which are light conductive molecules in your connective tissue. The tubulin in turn receives the information carrying light impulse and conducts it at the speed of light throughout your body, where it is translated inside each cell into activating or inactivating certain metabolic enzymes. Biophoton research also put a whole new spin on the impact of environmental toxins. Humans are energy beings, whether it's a grain of sand, a piece of steel, a plant, animal, or an organ in your body, is composed of atoms. Without getting into the mathematical equation and specifications of the scientific discoveries of this reality, everything that exists, either physical or non physical, contains some variation of atoms and subatomic particles. The varying amount of each of these put together from various shape of energies which determines forms or rate of vibration. Depending on the specific amount of each of these ingredients determines the structure of each object that can be seen and determines whether there is solid, liquid or gas, and which also determines whether it can be sensed with the five human senses or not. Regardless of its form, broken down into the most basic structure, everything that exists, seen and unseen, consists of a rate of vibration as well. A good example of that everyone is familiar with world would be the wind. Although it can be felt at a certain vibration, it cannot be seen with the human eye or heard with our ears. When the rate of vibration changes to the point that it causes the rate of the wind to increase and become strong enough to pick up dirt or debris, it would then be a level of vibration that would allow all five of the human senses to experience it. In other words, absolutely everything, whether physical objects, your body, sound, color, feelings, oxygen, thoughts, feelings, emotions, etc., exists as a result of energy, or what science refers to as quanta, which are vibrating energy packed constructed of any number of subatomic particles. A vibration is made up of energy pulsations of positive and negative polarity called frequency. Atoms act like little radio transmitters broadcasting waves. Human, as well as all kinds of supposedly inert matter, consistently emit rays. Everything sends out waves of different length. The wavelength of the body are as individual as fingerprints. Under the law of vibration, each individual has a distinctive rate of vibration of resonance harmonics. The resonance of your physical body is determined by emotions, food, thoughts, and external toxins. The way you take care of your body physically, emotionally, and mentally determine how many negative frequencies or toxins are being built up in it. There are four general ways of imbalance in the body is created. Through toxic substances we eat, pollution, we breathe, exposure to negative energetic environment, and how we process information in our thinking and feeling. Raising the vibration is the only effective way to live the life you truly want to live. While you are radiating a low vibration or frequency, your life will never really be in harmony, and you will constantly live with the inner feeling of disease. The healthy body is flowing interactive electrodynamic energy fields. Every cell also resonates a unique characteristic frequency. Frequencies that are rich in harmonics supply the body with full band of frequency that can support or strengthen the biosystem. They can, if the body is healthy, rapidly restore the energy state and ideal frequency to every cell in the body. The resonant cavities of the body, such as the gut, lung, trachea, throat, and nasal passages, produce vibration signatures similar to the resounding chambers of the guitars, which give them a unique personal tone even though they use similar strings. Enhancing the harmony or resonance of the body multiplies the number of frequencies called overtones. Plucking a guitar string sets up an ascending cascade of overtones that quickly die out as the string returns to the rest. However, bowing a violin string allows the harmonics to ascend to infinity as long as the string is being drawn. This example shows that more resonant and coherent something is, the more overtune it contains. Therefore, improving the harmonic resonance of the body can result in increasing coherence, which fills in any hole present in the membranes. Therefore, complete balance of the actual and potential component of our mind and body in the perfect harmony and resonance would be the essence of equivalent of good health. The human body is multidimensional, vibrational being with numerous complex energetic interactions continually taking place. These complex energetic interactions, a bioenergetic communication network, emit vibratory information that precisely specify the activities taking place within the body. These vibratory emissions are measured with modern equipments. Current research hypothesizes that every part of the body, mental, physical, and emotional, form this continuous interconnections, bioenergetics, communication network. Each part of the body, even the smallest constituent, is a part of the bioenergetics communication network. Vibrational medicine stimulates this network, and the body's restorative system responds without the side effects associated with the use of pharmacological substances. Everything living vibrates at a certain frequency. That is true not only for molecules, cells, tissues, and organs, but for parasites, bacteria, viruses, etc. Imbalancing disorders and diseases alter the bioenergetics, communications networks, and through the use of vibrational medicinal devices, balance can be restored. Your body can then go to work in healing itself. Every illness is an autoimmune illness. When your immune system cannot ward off a problem in your system in time, something fails. Your only defense is your immune system. By raising the oscillating frequency of every atom in your body, we are increasing the rate at which the immune system operates, as well as eliminating the negative toxins your body is trying to fight off. The quantum fluctuations, vibrations that make up the memory of the cell of the body, start creating different memories. This type of frequency reprogramming allows the body to remember the natural effectiveness of the immune system and regenerate back 100% to its original state. Quantum holistic healing. Quantum leap. Research on spontaneous cure of cancer conducted in both United States and Japan has shown that just because the cure appears, almost every patient experiences a dramatic shift in awareness. He knows that he will be healed, and he feels that the force responsible is inside him but not limited to him. It extends beyond his personal boundaries throughout all of nature. At the moment, such a patient apparently jumps to a new level of consciousness that prohibits the existence of cancer. This leap in consciousness seems to be the key. It does not have to come in a flash, however, it can be cultivated deliberatively through holistic science techniques. The word that comes to mind when a scientist thinks of sudden change is quantum. The word denotes a discrete jump from one level of functioning to a higher level, that quantum leap. Healing the universal. Indeed, the process of healing has spiritual and mysterious qualities that transcend scientificism. In the broader perspective, the intersection between science and art and between rational truth and imagination begins to blend. As such, this is the entrance into the realm of the integral thinker. To enter into this domain, logic is not denied, rather, it is expanded in the broadest possible way. Taking a person into a universe that operates by law that both transcends and includes the law of scientificism, that is a universe predicted on laws of quantum mechanics, complexity, and non-linear dynamics, is also a universe that has at its core a spiritual intelligence. Healing is a universal quality and universal process. We all possess natural powers of healing in our own body, mind, and spirit. We all have access to personal qualities which can assist healing in other people. Healing is not bestowed upon people by doctors. Doctors do not make people better. They help them to get better, and so do parents, friends, neighbors, comedians, poets, and relatives. Dr. Deepak Chopra writes in his book Quantum Healing that at any one time the number of activities being coordinated in our body is quite literally infinite. Like the Earth's ecosystem, our physiology appears to operate in separate compartments that in fact are invisibly connected. We eat, breathe, talk, think, digest our food, fight off infections, purify our blood of toxins, renew our cells, discard waste, vote for the Republicans, and much more besides. Macro and microcosmos are connected. Our ecology is more planet like than most people realize. Creatures roam our surface as unmindful of our hugeness as we are of their minuteness. Colonies of mites, for example, spend their entire life cycle in our eyelashes. Within the body's vast array, the function of any single cell, such as one of the 15 billion neurons in the brain, filled a good sized medical text. The volume devoted to any one system of the body, such as the immune system or the nervous system, take up several shelves in a medical library. The healing mechanism resides somewhere in the overall complexity. But is it elusive? There is no one organ of healing. He further writes any one of the processes involved in healing a superficial cut, the clotting of blood, for example, is incredibly complex. So much so that if the mechanism fails, as it does with hemophilics, advanced scientific medicine at a loss to duplicate the impaired function. A doctor can prescribe drugs that replace the missing clotting factor in the blood, but these are temporary, artificial, and have innumerable undesirable side effects. The body's perfect timing will be absent, as well as the superb conditions of dozen related processes. By comparison, a man made drug is a stranger in a land where everyone else is bloodkin. It can never share the knowledge that everyone else was born with. Same phenomena happens when a processed food enters the body chemistry. A human body has a perfect enzyme system ready to digest the natural whole food. A natural food contains a team of nutrients which are perfectly woven in a manner compatible with the human system. But modifying the whole food, the network breaks, and now the food is an alien to the body. If processed food is strong and rejection system is weak, there is cellular damage, and therefore a base of disease process starts. Dependent on exposure to these chemical food is the nature and intensity of disease. Current evidence show that degenerative processes have started appearing after a shorter duration, that is young age. The first thing that is killed in the laboratory is the delicate web of intelligence that binds the body together. Even if we break down its knowledge into finer and finer bits, looking for the secret in some miniature hormone and messenger enzyme, we will not find a protein strand labeled intelligence. And yet there is no doubt that intelligence is at work. No physician in his right mind would claim that he has healed a broken bone simply because he had set it. The real job of healing is done by something else, something that we do not fully understand and cannot reproduce, and something that, for want of better terms, we vaguely call nature. Similarly, the battle against the infection is a collaboration process unless the force of the patient's own system are operative against infections. All the physician's medicines will be useless. Unfortunate fact is that medicine has become addicted to the administration of vast quantities of non-biological medications. Dr. Roger writes that the basic fault of all these medication is that have no connection with the disease process itself. They tend to mask the difficulty, not eliminate it. They contaminate the internal environment, create dependence on the part of the patient, and complicate the physician's job by erasing valuable clues as to the real source of trouble. Listen to your body. Unfortunately, most of us go through the day without being aware of how we are in our bodies and what are they trying to communicate. We tune our bodies in order to get our jobs done, finish our commutes home and run our errands before we finally lie down and go to sleep. And we hope to wake up feeling good. Even when our bodies finally get our attention with excruciating sensation that we can't ignore, do we listen as they tell us what they want, what they need? Instead of ignoring or anesthetizing your body, consider working with it in a cooperative way. Knowing yourself makes you healthy, holistic being. It's knowing that can come only from within your bodies, from our own heart and guts. It is inside our rather than outside in. It is also thought our bodies that we sense the rightness of a situation or detect danger, like a radar system. Our body's wisdom let us know when we are going to fast and need to go slow, or when we need to be vigorous or in motion. Our bodies know what to do as long as we don't override the message with abstract goals and ideas and the latest faddish information in name of health, success, morality, beauty, or spirituality. We're outfitted with all the apparatus we need: neurotransmitters, sensory receptors, hemostatic adjusters, detoxification units, chemical regulators, biorhythm regulators, and so on. Intelligence suffices every cell in the body in all of its enzymes, gene, hormones, antibodies, and nerve regulating essential functions. The emotional and physical being are connected into the third week of our lives as the embryo. Three sheets of cells are present. One of the primitive or the germ layer, the ectoderm, gradually gives rise to skin, brain, and nervous system. This means that from the same group of cells we develop structures that allow us to feel physical sensations, sensory receptors. It means skin and brains function as a single unit. The skin is the outer layer of the brain, or brain is the deepest layer of skin. Scientific researches in PNI is proving that the brain and its functions are actually located all over the body. Candace Peirce of the National Institute of Health and other brain researchers have found receptor sites of neuropeptides, brain chemicals, not only in the brain nervous system and immune system but also throughout the body when we are aware of the physical changes taking place in our body. Then we also know that the emotions we are feeling. Biochemical individuality. The book Biochemical Individuality, authored by the late world renowned biochemist Roger Williams, PhD, first published in 1956. Dr. Williams contributed to the evolution of the Dr. Williams contributed to the evolution of the understanding of the molecular origin of disease with the development of the concept of biochemical individuality. He described anatomical and physiological variations among people and how they are related to the individual response to the environment. He was the first to gain recognition for the term biochemical individuality, and how this is related to different nutritional need for optimal functioning among different people. He pointed out that even identical twins could be different in their needs for optimal function based upon the fact that they developed in different environments in the uterus. Although identical twins share the same gene, their differing nutrition and developmental environments can result in different expressions of the gene as they grow older. Epigenetics say that gene expression can be modified by various internal and external environmental factors. Genetic polymorphism. Genetic polymorphism is a term which has emerged in the past decade to describe this variation in functioning surrounding a specific genetic trait. The second major breakthrough in thinking made by Dr. William is the recognition that the nutritional status can influence the expression of the gene characteristics. Once again, Dr. William foresaw this important concept in biochemical individuality and set in motion research and discoveries over the past 4 decades that have transformed medicine. It is now well recognized that our genotype gets transformed into our phenotype as consequence of nutritional, lifestyle and environmental factors which are important in determining our health patterns. The concept of biochemical individuality has become part of the most contemporary clinical and experimental medical and nutritional research. People are now known to fit into personally unique biochemical profiles based upon their own genetic structure, nutritional and environment. There is no such thing as truly normal individual, meaning average. We all are biochemically unique and need to be dealt with such. The recommended dietary allowance, which was developed by the Food and Nutrition Board of the National Research Council to establish the nutritional need of particularly all healthy people, was not based upon more recent information considering the range of biochemical individuality among individuals. The RDA that describes normal nutritional needs has questionable relevance to the concept of optimal nutrition based upon individual need. The contributions of Dr. William has opened the door for personally tailored nutritional and medical interventions that take biochemical individuality into account. Epigenetics. Conrad Weddington, 1905 to 1975, is often credited with the coining the term epigenetics in 1942 as a branch of biology which studied the causal interactions between genes and their products, which brings the phenotype into the being. Epigenetics appear in the literature as far as the mid 19th century. Although the conceptual original data dates back to Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC, he believed in epigenetics. The development of individual organic form from the unformed, the controversial view was the main argument against our having developed from mechanically fully formed body. Even today, the extent to which we are pre-programmed versus environmentally shaped awaits universal consensus. The field of epigenetics has emerged to bridge the gap between the nature and nurture. In the 21st century, you will mostly find epigenetics defined as the study of heritable changes in genome function that occur without a change in DNA sequence. The difference between genetics and epigenetics can probably be compared to the difference between writing and reading a book. Once a book is written, the text, the gene, or DNA sorted information will be the same in all the copies distributed to the interested audience. However, each individual reader of a given book may interpret the story slightly differently with varying emotions and projections as they continue to unfold the chapters. In a very similar manner, epigenetics would allow different interpretation of a fixed template, the book or the genetic code, and result in different readouts, dependent upon the variable conditions under which this template is integrated. Thomas Vini, Austria. Nutrition and biochemical individuality. Some of the world's foremost nutrition and medical researchers are now actively involved in developing a better understanding of the field which Dr. William pioneered. Rucker and Tinker from the University of California at Davis Department of Nutrition has described the role of nutrition in gene expression and its relationship to biochemical individuality as a fertile field for the application of molecular biology. It is now well known that significant biochemical diversity occurs in such physiological functions as the ability of the individuals to detoxify exogenous and endogenous substances. The control of blood cholesterol, the metabolism of the potential harmful amino acid homocysteine, and the response certain cancer genes have to the diet and environment. These are all examples of how nutritional status can influence disease. Based upon biological individuality, Dr. Williams coined the term genotrophic disease to describe disease which resulted from genetically determined nutritional metabolic needs not being met by the individual and which result from poor gene expression. Motolsky has recently argued that many of the common degenerative diseases are the result of the imbalanced nutrition intake, with genetically determined needs for good health. Therefore, biochemical individuality refers to the unique nutritional needs each person has based on their genetic lifestyle and environmental exposure to various stress. Biochemistry is a complex web of interactions that control the way your body uses amino acids, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, and fats for all your body functions. Amino acids, for example, are used to produce hormones, skin, and bone. For your biochemistry to function properly, your body requires the right amount and proportion of nutrients. The amount of a certain nutrient the average person requires may not be optimal amount you need for good health. Symptoms of disease can occur in response to problems with biochemical processes. Depression provides a good example. The body requires nutrients in order to manufacture mood regulating hormones, serotonin, dopamine, and epinephrine. For these hormones to be properly manufactured, your body needs the amino acid phenylalanine and tryptophan, vitamin B3 and B6, and the minerals iron and copper. Low level of these nutrients, the raw materials needed to manufacture the hormones, can produce depression. People may become deficient in required nutrients because they don't get enough of the nutrients in their diet, or their unique biochemistry may simply require additional amount of one or more nutrients for the biochemical pathway to function properly. Genes are not fixed. The genetic concept with which most nutrition and medical researchers grew up intellectually before the contribution of Dr. William was of George Mendel. His concept of dominant recessive genetic characteristics gave us the belief that our characteristics are locked in stone. With the sperm meets the egg, Dr. William opened the eyes of these research communities. The expression of gene and therefore phenotypical function was modifiable through altered diet and nutritional status. He pointed out human biochemical variation in function was much greater than nutrition and medical recognized prior to his publication. Simopoulos has stated that all of the recent scientific advances contributing to our understanding of the role of nutrition in disease prevention and the variability in human nutrient needs, the recognition of genetic variation as a contributing factor must rank at the highest. Conventional medicine and human body. In medical system, the human body is regarded as a machine that can be analyzed in terms of its part. Disease is seen as the manufacturing of biological mechanisms which are studied from the point of view of cellular and molecular biology. The doctor's role is to intervene either physically or chemically to correct the malfunctioning of the specific mechanism. In this approach, every cause should have a predictable effect and likewise a predictable cure. The human being is seen as a collection of organs, tissue, and other components into which it can be reduced. The whole is considered nothing more than the sum of its part. In this way of thinking, every cause that leads to a predictable effect and has a predictable cure can be taken care of easily. There should be no post surgical complication, no post surgical recurrences, or the original problems. Also, all drugs should take care of the problem being treated, and all side effects of drugs should be known and easily catalogued. In this model, there is no place for the effect of consciousness and the mind on the body because consciousness is seen as nothing but the result of the brain process. Metabolic classification. We need to use and expand the body of research on biochemical differences and do research on group of people that are more similar biochemically. Thankfully, this field does not need to be reinvented as metabolic classification involves the interaction between the autonomic nervous system, the oxidative system, and the endocrine system have been used with great success in the field of nutrition. Two people with the same degenerative disease can have virtually opposite biochemical imbalance, and that when two opposite biochemical protocols are administered, both get well. This clearly means that there is not the disease that should be treated, but the underlying metabolic imbalance that have caused the disease that needs to be addressed. From this viewpoint, the disease are the symptoms that manifest the expression of the underlying imbalance. The same scenario applies to every degenerative condition, whether it is cancer, diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, chronic fatigue, allergies, or headaches. The same principle apply. The reality of metabolic individuality demands that the person who has disease, not the disease that has the person, be treated. To summarize, Biochemical individuality is responsible for the fact that nutrients behave differently in different metabolic types in terms of stimulatory, catabolic, acid, oxidative, anabolic, alkaline influences. The variable influence of nutrients on different metabolism, along with the same condition, arises from totally different biochemical imbalance, make it impossible to treat condition with a standard treatment protocol. Successful, predictable, reliable therapy can only be chosen once you know the metabolic type of the patient because only then you will be able to treat it. It is true that there are tens of thousands of biochemical reactions that take place on daily basis in human metabolism. So it would be impractical and impossible to think in terms of treating and monitoring all of those reactions in an attempt to understand and address biochemical individuality. And yet, this is precisely that we have been doing when we either try to treat a weak organ, address supposed vitamin or mineral deficiencies, or attempt to interpret laboratory results or blood, urine, hair, saliva, or other tissue samples in terms of what we think are excess or deficiencies. Hemostatic systems. The solution to this dilemma lies in the fact that all those tens of thousands of metabolic processes fall under the control of regulation of just a few fundamental hemostatic systems, the most significant of which are dualistic in nature. These homeostatic mechanisms function that through complementary yet opposing influences. How does this relate to nutrition? Research has uncovered the fact that every nutrient in every food has a specific inhibitory or stimulatory effect on one or more of these systems, and on one side or the other of these homeostatic control mechanisms. Thus, another very important principle is revealed. There is no food or nutritional supplement that is right or good for everyone. Whether any supplement are good or bad depends on the particular biochemical balance of the individual in question, meaning which fundamental homeostatic mechanism is out of balance and what the effect of the nutrient in question will be on the imbalanced system. Will it improve the imbalance or worsen the imbalance? It is the strength and balance of these control mechanisms in each individual which define metabolic individuality and determine the metabolic type. Most significantly, metabolic typing research has uncovered the fact that no adverse condition can exist that does not involve an imbalance in one or more of these fundamental homeostatic control mechanisms. Currently, nine of these fundamental homeostatic control mechanisms have been discovered and are utilized to define one's metabolic type. Certain nutrients stimulate and strengthen the sympathetic output, while others increase the parasympathetic output, and certain nutrients increase the rate of glycolysis, while others slow it. Of central importance is the discovery that each person is genetically predisposed to greater or lesser strength in the diversion of the autonomic nervous system and to the greater or lesser rates of oxidation. These genetically based and environmentally influenced differences help define their biochemical individuality and their metabolic type. The variable influences of these homeostatic controls, that is, the variable strength and weaknesses, manifest in the individual differences that define the metabolic type, for instance, in acid alkaline balance. They determine both the tendency of an organism towards acidity or alkalinity, and they determine how an organism metabolizes any given nutrient, producing either an acid or alkaline result. Sympathetic parasympathetic predisposition. So, first of all, we have the fact that a sympathetic predisposition, or one for a fast oxidation, meaning fast conversion of carbohydrates to energy, results in shifts towards acidity, while parasympathetic predisposition, or slow oxidation, results in alkaline shift. Secondly, and just as significantly, and this is very, very important, that same food and nutrients that acidified by virtue of their stimulating influence on the autonomic system will alkaline through their influence on the oxidative system. There are few rules which rule homeostasis. First, within each homeostatic system, there are opposing yet complementary influences, each of which influence oppositely the acid alkaline balance, while the sympathetic branch causes a tendency of the metabolism towards acidity. The parasympathetic causes a leaning towards alkalinity, and while a fast oxidation makes for more acidity, a slow oxidation makes for more alkalinity. Second, a given nutrient will have acidifying influence on one homeostatic control system. and an alkalizing influence on the other system. For example, in our metabolic type, potassium will alkalize through acceleration of the parasympathetic output, while in other type, potassium will acidify through increasingly the rate of glycolysis. Third, one more very important fact in any given individual, one or other, is the hemostatic control system will dominate. Either the autonomic system has a stronger impact and determines the influence of nutrients in a given individual, or the oxidative system can exert its impact. Whichever system dominates will determine how nutrients behave in that person, whether they acidify or alkaline. In other words, it is not the food or the nutrients